Hi, I'm Dan Gable with Shore Murphy and Associates of Casey, and this is another episode of Big Agent in a Small Town. If you're a small contractor, you might feel like a short-term general liability policy to just meet one job or a certain group of jobs is the best option for you for your insurance coverage. And I want to explain today some potential issues with that and why you really want to consider having an annual general liability policy. So the first thing, when it comes to general liability, there are normally two coverages for contractors that come in. The first is premises coverage. So that would be if you're on a job site, think if someone trips over or your tools or equipment, or you spill something, someone slips and falls. Also, that falls under your premises liability coverage, which you would have on a short-term policy or an annual policy, both. The other part of coverage that's equally, if not more important, is what's called completed operations coverage. So this coverage, think for example, let's say that you installed some cabinetry in a kitchen, and 2 months after you've completed the job, due to a defect in how you install the cabinets falls on someone and injures them, resulting in bodily injury. Your completed operations coverage on your general liability is what would provide coverage in that case. On a short-term policy, your policy would be up. You wouldn't have that completed operations coverage like you would on an annual policy. Next is just the importance of having coverage for all jobs. I know sometimes you might just be looking for a short-term policy for a specific job that's a larger job than what you normally do, things like that. And, the one thing I would just caution you on is a good amount of the general liability claims we see are on smaller jobs. So you may feel like you don't need coverage on those smaller jobs you're doing when just one or two larger ones in a year. And I would just say I would strongly disagree with that from what I've seen over the years, and that's something else to consider. It's also potentially more costly to have a short-term policy rather than an annual policy. If you have to get multiple short-term policies, that price can really add up. But like I said, you're then potentially paying for more with less coverage. Also, you really want to look at contractual requirements, and if you're purchasing a short-term general liability policy to meet an insurance requirement in a contract, you want to make sure that the short-term policy is going to meet those guidelines, because often that contract is going to require things like completed operations coverage that you most likely won't have in a short-term policy. And then finally, having an annual policy can help you line up more work as well too. If you're talking to a business owner or a general contractor, one of their first questions to you is going to be whether you have your own insurance or not. If you have an annual policy, that answer can be yes, and you're going to make yourself more attractive and getting more jobs. If you have a short-term policy, that's going to potentially be an issue and is going to put you behind someone else who is trying to get that work that has an annual policy. If you're a contractor with any questions about general liability, please reach out to me by phone or text at 217-932-2267 or by email to Dan, D-A-N, at Shore Murphy Casey, SHOREMURPHY CASEY.com. Thank you.